Okay, hi guys and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be sharing my top 5 reasons why I personally love collecting wristwatches, and hopefully it will inspire some of you out there to start collections of your own. If you are a collector, I'd love to hear your own personal reasons why you love collecting wristwatches too. Please share those down below in the comments. I really love hearing back from you guys, as you always know. Now, of course, I'll do my customary wristwatch check. I am indeed wearing the Rolex Gmt Master 2, which I recently bought off a very good friend of mine. This is a very special watch for me because I've always wanted it, and thank God he happened to be selling the exact model I wanted, so I had to do it. Bit of a grail watch for me, and I've nicknamed it the Hoffman in honor of one of my favorite actors who I remember as a child famously wore the watch. Fairly simplistic, I know, but it just made me, I always remember it since I was a child, so the Hoffman it is. Anyway guys, wristwatch check done. Let's roll the intro and get on with this video. Okay, welcome back guys. So my 5 reasons why I love collecting wristwatches. We'll start with number 5, and that is the history of horology itself. I actually did a video not so long ago looking at what led up to the wristwatch, what came before it, you know, the history of horology in general. Horology means the study of hours. Okay, and this goes way back to the dawn of civilization itself. I mean, we look at very rudimentary timekeeping devices, things like Stonehenge, the obelisks in ancient Egypt, water clocks in ancient Rome, these devices that the astronomers in the Middle East used. You know, there's a rich history that goes back thousands of years. And in a strange kind of way, for me, the wristwatch actually is a symbol of all of that. It's a link to the past. I absolutely adore history. I love learning about it. I was absolutely useless at it at school, but since then I've kind of found a really deep, profound admiration for it, and it's become more important in my life, especially as I get older. There's a definite romance to the history of horology. It's because it's not just the history of timekeeping. It's man's quest to harness nature, to measure time is kind of man's attempt at controlling nature. You know, these tiny little automatic, especially with automatic mechanical pieces, that man harnessing the power of nature and storing up the energy and being able to tell time accurately. This was hugely important. You know, empires were dependent on this. Harrison with the early marine chronometers, they were vital at saving lives. I mean, these things, people's lives depended on these things. You know, they were hugely important. Obviously, through time, timepieces, they took on different meanings and different kind of roles. They became status symbols. We look at the beautiful clocks of the Louis XIV and this kind of thing. They became very ostentatious symbols of power and refinement, and they still, to some degree, they are to this day, especially with luxury timepieces. That link to our past, that symbolic manifestation or symbolism of civilization and humanity's history itself, the craftsmanship, the pioneering of mechanics, artistry involved in making these things is hugely important. And for me, collecting timepieces is in a way a link to that, because you know, I love learning about the history of each timepiece. It doesn't matter if it's the most modern G-Shock or a really old pocket watch. They all have a story, and they all are part of the wider history of horology itself. So for me, history plays a large role in that. It's really important, and something that's kind of overlooked. You don't really get with smartwatches, and especially when people say, oh, I don't need a watch, I use my iPhone to check the time. They kind of they've missed the point. They're not really, I mean, yeah, it's a timekeeping device, but it doesn't have that tactile, direct lineage to the past, the same way a watch or a beautifully made clock has. And kind of going into history a bit is my fourth point, and that is tradition. I was very fortunate enough to inherit some of my grandfather's timepieces and my father's, and they are a link to the past. For example, my grandfather's pocket watch really is a product of its day. It's a very refined, beautiful thing that has become kind of obsolete with the modern wristwatch, but it's a link to my own history, my own family's past. The sentimental value is huge. It's beyond any monetary value, but it's hugely important to me. So the tradition of collecting, the tradition of these things, of ownership of these beautiful things and handing them down, and certainly one day I will hand these down to the next generation. And I think that's something that's kind of been lost in the modern age. And you can't hand down a smartwatch, you can't hand down a mobile phone. It's disposable technology that ages. This thing here, yes, it is technology from last century, but it's worthy of inheriting. It's something that will probably outlive and still be ticking long after I'm gone. There is a kind of timeless, forgive the pun, but timeless aspect of the tradition. You can introduce that to your own family and leave that legacy behind so you're remembered. I mean, I don't really think there's anything greater to hand down the next generation than your timepieces, or even if you build up a collection. I mean, you can give timepieces to different family members, you know. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing and highly overlooked, and something you can't do with a smartwatch, you know. So that self-expression is also carried down, this being my choice. When I'm long gone, whoever inherits this piece will have a little bit of my personality, because it is an extension, it is my tastes. And this goes way beyond its actual physical, monetary value. Not only that, the tradition of marking an occasion, of an anniversary. You know, I've seen some beautiful collections where the couple will buy a timepiece for each other every wedding anniversary. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So the tradition can be harnessed in different ways, and I think it's very romantic. You know, it's a beautiful thing to do, and it's something that's special and unique, and adds an extra sentimental dimension, or I don't want to say value, adds an extra aspect to that timepiece's its own personality. You know, the memories associated. I got certain watches that I've traveled the world with, and I will always, I look at that watch, I put it on, and it reminds me of a time, of a place, a happy memory that the tradition keeps alive, you know. So definitely number 4 is tradition. Okay, so what is my number 3? Well, it's got to be quite simplistic, but it's got to be the function. I love having different watches with different functions. You know, if they're a chronograph, if they're a GMT with multiple time zones, if it's a G-Shock, that's something designed to be used in harsh conditions as a beta watch, as we say in watch collecting circles. If we use the metaphor of shoes, right? A lot of guys have vast shoe collections. You wouldn't wear your expensive John Lobs or your Churches to go hiking up a mountain, for example. You'd have specific boots or specific outdoor type footwear. It's the same with watches. You know, you have your ABC watches, which stands for altimeter, barometer, compass. These are survival tools. You have your diving watch, where you can go swimming. Great, robust piece that you can take on a weekend away. You go to Miami, you wear it on the beach, you know, this kind of thing. Perpetual calendars, you know, very kind of esoteric, complicated, that really push the craft of watchmaking. These are beautiful aspects of collecting, and more reason to have more than one piece. I mean, I know there are people out there that are very content with just having one piece, but when you get into enjoying the different functions and forms and occasions to wear these watches, it can really get fun. That's what I love having a larger collection for. There's literally a watch for every occasion. So my number 3 has got to be form and function, so to speak. Okay, so number 2. Now, this is something that I see happening a lot, especially with kind of style blogs, you know, GQ magazine. These guys who spend a fortune on shoes and suits and all the rest of it, and then what do they end up doing? They garnish the outfit with an ill-fitting timepiece or something that isn't the appropriate watch for the outfit. So it's got to be completing the outfit, and I mean the full spectrum of outfits. I'm talking, you know, if you're dressed casually, or you're bicycling even, or some rugged outdoor activity, you want to wear the right watch. You're not going to wear a dress watch. You're not going to wear a 20 grand Lange, for example, right? That's very delicate. So you've got to wear the right thing for the right outfit. It's a refinement, it's an art, it's a skill. There's nothing worse than a person spending a fortune on the complete outfit and not finishing the look, not completing the look with the appropriate timepiece. And you don't have to spend a fortune. There are fantastic dress watches. You know, look at the Seiko Saab 033. We're talking watches like the Bambino, for example, that's just barely over $100, that has an in-house movement, that's incredibly elegant and quite a refined piece for the money. You know, it looks much more expensive than it really is and complements a dapper outfit like nothing else, especially the later models with those beautiful dials that they now have. You've got to put the cherry on top of the cake. If you have a larger collection, you've got more to choose from, and you can really have fun matching watches with different outfits. The colors, the look, the design should be as important as knowing about good shoes or a well-tailored suit, all the rest of it. You should know about some basics, at least know what the classics are. You see these millions of videos about how to tie a tie the correct way, or how to tie your laces on your Oxfords or your brogues or whatever it is. You know, timepieces are just as important. It's a refinement that is as important as knowing about wines or cigars or whatever it is. It's a definite a must for a gentleman, a man about town, whether you're dressing as dapper as they come or as casually going to a football match. It really doesn't matter. I do feel a gentleman should know about these kind of things. So my second point really is the refinement, the completion of an outfit, and having a wider collection, having a larger collection really helps that and makes it more fun. That really brings me on to my number one reason, and that is the fun, the happiness that collecting watches brings. Now, let's not get confused. I'm not telling you that these are the absolute answer to all your depression in life and all the rest of it. I actually did a separate video where I shared 5 ways of that I use to find happiness and fulfillment, and actually wristwatches were never mentioned. These aren't the wonder pill. This isn't the answer, but they do add a level of enjoyment, of happiness and fun to my life. I really enjoy these things, and that's what it's all about. The joy of hunting for that next piece, of learning the history, of learning more things about it. I learn every single day. I'm by no means the ultimate guru. I learn each and every day, and that's what life should be about. The romance, the historic connection, the emotion these things invoke. And I've had discussions with some watch collectors. Some collectors are obsessed with value, with resale value. To me, it does matter, but even if I spent $1,000 on a watch and I lost every penny, but I get fun and excitement from that timepiece, then for me it's worth every penny. I don't look at watches, you know, oh, they've got to hold their value. I honestly, for me personally, it's not about that. It's not about the monetary value. It's about how much fun and enjoyment they bring to me, and that's what's really crucial. I've met so many incredible people through this passion. It's just fantastic. But not just wristwatches. I'm talking about horology in general. There's some beautiful clocks and beautiful architecture. You know, I think of London. I think of that stunning astronomical clock in Prague, and clock towers I've seen in Brussels and all over the world. You know, just horology is so much more than just timekeeping. There's just so many hidden depths to that. You just keep learning and keep learning. It's so rewarding. So it's got to be my number one reason. The fun and joy and pleasure it brings. Also the friendships I've made through it are just So worth it. Women have their bags and their shoes and all the rest of it. I do like a little bit of jewelry as well, but it is something that a lot of guys, it's their only piece of kind of self-adornment, so to speak. You can chat for hours about these things and have really cool discussions, and it's so enjoyable, and I can't say that enough. I just get a hell of a lot of fun and happiness from them. So anyway, those are my 5 reasons, but I'd love to hear yours. Please share your reasons why you love collecting. I really want to hear about that. Anyway guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Comments, questions, queries, all the rest of it down below in the comments. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and found it useful. It really does help me. And as always guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, ciao.